Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hindsight, where we see bad situations that can be avoided by good reasoning. But sometimes a situation is unavoidable and self defense is needed to get you to safety.
Yes, folks, we're back. Hindsight, you know what it is. Well, we were trying for Monday night quarterbacking, but it's early Tuesday morning quarterbacking with the Hindsight crew. Sensei Buddha, Mr. Suave, what's good?
Yo, yes, sir. Chilling, fellas. What's up?
Feeling real good, gentlemen. How you doing, beat physicist? How you doing, Mr. Suave?
Yeah, feeling good. Ready to go in.
That's
Ready to go in. Done
That's
did the
what
physical for today. Ready to go in.
Yes, sir. Hit us off with the synopsis of the story, please.
All right, so today we're talking about hospital violation. Yes, we've got this close to middle-aged gentleman, Keith Nembhard, accused of raping.
What a name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Keith Nembhard, accused of raping a 32-year-old incapacitated stroke victim at Bronx Lebanon Hospital. Okay, so the victim also had multiple seizures. She's been alleged by Nembhard as being a prostitute for which she had prior dealings with before she was admitted to the hospital. Woman can't, pretty much incoherent, but, Nembhard, in his claim, says that she smiled at him, so as a signal to have sex. So here he's claiming that a stroke victim smiled at him, enticing him to, he couldn't resist because the smile was so enticing. Police basically walked in on Nembhard performing the assault, and then this happened on a Saturday. Nembhard then went on to say that, hey, I only lasted 2 minutes. She wasn't hurt by that, or whatever. And, just because the nurse caught us doesn't mean it was rape. So, now you kind of see where this guy's head is. If you didn't know before about him, perceiving a come-on signal from a stroke victim, now, he's caught. And just because he's caught doesn't mean it was rape. So, it then goes on to say that, the alleged victim was charging him sex, and, he wanted it for free. So basically, he came to the hospital to collect, it seems. He's now on $50,000 bail, and he's got 5 priors. But, they're all sealed, so we don't know what he did. Who wants a piece of this first?
Whew. Man.
Go in, Suave.
Sensei?
Go in.
Sensei?
I'm here.
You holding off? You going in or what? You going in?
I'll hold off until when it comes time. You know me. I like to always have it.
Okay. Save the best for first. Got you. All good, family. Hey, just like to say, as always, everything we say is our views and views alone. Entertainment purposes only. We about to get it in. Mr. Nembhard. Name. Damn, why he had to have that name with this goddamn the city is crime, man. This dude is a bum. Look, man, you need to get your rocks off. I mean, there's so many better ways you could have did it. And if his claims of her being a prostitute, they had this relationship, if that's even true, you couldn't wait for her to be out of the hospital, for her to be okay. You couldn't just wait. If that was even the case, a stroke hits each person different. Some people become permanently paralyzed. Some people become they start walking permanently, kind of disabled. Some people, that one stroke could keep them, as a report is saying, that her family was taking care of her medical decisions because she couldn't. So, stroke hits everybody a little different. So for this dude, this moron, or as my granny used to say, this nincompoop, to just go on and say, "Oh, she winked at me." Nigga, that might be the only function she could do.
Right.
That's not an okay sign for you to start. You know what? Let me go ahead and close this bedpan. You know what? I'm looking at it and thinking about it and reading it. I think this was a fantasy that he always wanted to do, and he was an opportunist, and he took the opportunity to take advantage of this woman, whether she was a prostitute or not. Did not give him the right or the statute or the okay to, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and leave a couple dollars on the table, and I'm gonna go ahead and fulfill my fantasy of having sex in the hotel room and having sex in the hospital room. And another fantasy could have been a super creep and maybe wanted to have sex with someone who was maybe partially paralysis or temporarily paralysis because they can't move and fight you off. Maybe he got some type of something good for that. And I would think he could be some type of sociopath or habitual criminal sociopath because he has 5 sealed records that we're not allowed to see.
Right.
So who knows what the hell he did? Who knows what he was involved in? So hell yeah, this dirtbag had bad intentions all day long, 100% grand. Mr. Nembhard, I don't even want to say your name. You're a bum. And unfortunately, since the young lady was in paralysis and she was, not really responsive, she didn't have. Apparently, it seems that she didn't have functionality. There's not much she could have done as far as a self-defense stance. She couldn't have done much as far as defending herself. Let's say if she had some movement, just as we spoke on before, her being in a ground position, she could have pulled him into guard, or she could have hit some up strikes to the nose, throat, the eyes. But that's over the grind, of course, if she had functionability in her body. But that's not the case. So he took advantage. This dude's a creep. I think this is premeditated. Somehow he found out she was sick. Maybe I think that part might have been true, that maybe she and him did have something, and maybe a friend or a family member told him about it. And that part I think may be true. Maybe not 100% how he said it, but it might be true. But he knew what she was, and once he saw the opportunity. He took advantage of the opportunity, and I'm glad he's being charged for rape because I feel, in my opinion, this dirty bastard did go on and just get his own rocks off, and then he only lasted 2 minutes, so he was really in that moment. And if he's thinking she's smiling, she probably can't even frown. I've worked with people who've had strokes before. I've seen people have strokes before. When they go through that, it's like I said, it's each person goes through a different parts of your body, does things that you have no control over, and it's just what it is. Damn near like a seizure. You have no control of what your body's doing at that time. And with a stroke, it's more of a release time before your body could come back to normal, if it ever comes back to normal. So, like I said, I really wish I knew what these priors were, so we could really solidify what type of person this dude really is. And, hopefully he didn't have anything infectious or disease, or he was on some homo thug on the low and passing on his little diseases to her that, from his 5 priors, he might have been locked up and been getting some soap drop cakes, as Sensei Buddha would say, about a known superhero who he's not a fan of, but I'm not going to say his name because I don't like that.
Boy.
Allegedly, Buddha is a fan of, yes. But anyway, that's all Suave got to say.
No, this is Suave, well put, and thank you for the leading in, Mr. Beat Physicist. The thing here that's really sad is that Mr. Nembhard alleges that the victim's father told him where to go to see her. And here's the deal. This is, again, my humble opinion. This now is going, as we say before, hindsight is 20/20. Moving forward, we can now do sight beyond sight. And when I say this, this now means that the hospital must now beef up their security. Whenever you have a stroke victim or an incapacitated patient, there must be a security personnel there, or there could be a CNA, which means a certified nurse's assistant. A nurse could be in the room, or a home health aide, if these people have a home health aide assigned to them. I go through this is because this woman clearly, as Mr. Suave put it, if she smiles, that could be the only thing she could do to make a single. She's now possibly being held. Her consciousness is being held as a prisoner in her head. She might be able to twitch. She may only be able to bat an eye. But for this guy to see this woman in such a debilitated state and mount upon her and do what it is he did and then make light of it, this shows where we have really, this is ridiculous. So now, again, let me first say this. The hospital is a great place. They're there to try to help and heal you. They probably never anticipated that someone coming to visit somebody would do something like this. So now I really hope that not only this hospital, but all hospitals, they are now ever vigilant. And whenever they have stroke victims or people who are greatly physically impaired, there's an aide, a CNA, certified nurse's assistant, a nurse, or somebody who's a teaching fellow, like people who are doing their, when they're the understudies of a doctor. What is that called again, Mr. Beat Physicist?
Oh, you mean like a resident?
Yes, they need to have residents on the floor just to nicely go around and monitor the actions of a patient. In other words, with these kind of patients who are stroke victims or people where their physicality is greatly impaired, you're going to need someone to watch over them as a guardian angel so that no one could victimize them. Also, what makes me very sad is if the father had a hand in this, if this was really true, I don't know if he knew the extent of the relationship between this man and his daughter. But to me, when that lady was in that hospital as a stroke victim, there should have been a family member there. There should have been a friend there. These, especially when you have people that go to nursing homes, you really need advocacy for the patient. Because if there's no one showing support, people can try to either take advantage of them. I'm not saying that mistreatment is going to come into play, but when people see that you have a strong supporting family, they will tend to deal with you more correctly. In this case, the victim was clearly unable to defend herself. Mr. Suave made excellent points by using the eye gouge, mounted defense type of situation, which is 100% correct. But here she can't do it. This is now where we're talking your self-defense is going to be a family member, a friend, home health aide attendant, a CNA, a nurse, a teaching resident or a resident. These things need to be in place in a hospital so that people are constantly checking up on the patient, not just because of physical assault, but to make sure that the patient is constantly monitored and being checked, making sure they don't go into another seizure or a cardiac arrest or any other type of stressful situation that can further just really put them in a very bad state. So with this one, you're definitely going to need another person to be that guardian for you. And in this case, I really don't know how the ball here got dropped. And what I mean by that is with the woman's family. I really wish she had a family member there with her or somebody who she knew, maybe a best friend, that could have stopped this creep from doing what it is that he does. And as Mr. Suave has pointed out, as well as the physicist, what the hell are these 5 prior arrests? Since he did what he did here, I'm very strongly will allege that it must be some type of sexual assault. It couldn't be anything otherwise, in my mind, allegedly. And to me, these things with these sealed records, when these criminals, they are given another chance, as all people should be given a chance. But the sealed record deal in cases like this fellow, when you do what it is you do, boom, instantaneous release of record. Your record was sealed. You're not. Yeah, instantaneous. It's like, if you will, we'll use the Bible analogy. You've broken a covenant. You've broken your promise. And if you break your promise, you should not be protected. Your records should not be sealed. Can't be sealed. If you're going out there, if you're going out there and it has rape, molestation, whatever it is, it was sealed. To me, if you go out here and you commit another felony, now I'm not saying that, let's say if you got into a street fight and you're defending your life, but clearly here, this man does not deserve to be shrouded in mystery. It must be brought forth about his criminal past. And to me, in my humble opinion, he should go to jail instantly for another 20 years. Instantly. If, just off the rip, he should be doing some football behind it. This guy's a predator, dude. Pure and simple. And the worst. And again, I have to say this, I'm not blaming the hospital staff because, again, in a professional environment, the doctors, the security staff, all the people there that are professional, and sadly, when a situation like this happens, this is where you can now evolve your technique. So security technique can be evolved. They can have security personnel, either in plain clothes or dressed as a more user-friendly type of thing, and say, hey, look, we need you to control the floor, but look at these particular patients for the day. And even when the family members come in, we were all, myself included, if I was in a situation where a family member comes, I would back off and let family handle family, assuming that they're family, assuming that they're friends. That attendant can always come looking by every 2 to 3 to 5 minutes to making sure that that patient is secure. And they can be, as I said before, in a less authoritative pose without a security or law enforcement outfit. They can have a suit and tie. They can, be dressed down in a nice slacks and just say, hello, how is everybody? How's everything? And just keep coming through saying that we are monitoring these people. We got them under watch. I need to have visual of this patient every 2 to 3 to 5 minutes, random patrols. So if he thinks you're going to come in 15 minutes, all of a sudden he turns around, you're there in 3. These things now must have to happen. It's going to force hospital security to evolve. And again, when it comes to people like this, we've talked about this before. I personally believe that once they have their identification, there should be a marker on the identification. When you enter into places like a hospital, when you enter into certain other sensitive areas where it's like this man's thing comes up with felony conviction. And then you can go ahead and dispatch a monitor to observe this person. You can also check them for weapons, drug paraphernalia. Just these certain individuals. I really, really feel that that's what should be happening with people like this. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, dag, man, you're talking big brother. But to me, this is no light matter because now you have people that are in a position that cannot defend themselves. So we over here at Hindsight, we believe without a doubt that if you have people that can't fight for themselves, just little adjustments can be made to have people that are around them to secure them from predators like Mr. Nembhard. Gentlemen?
Yes, yeah. I'd also like to add, in the case of not just stroke victims, but victims with a severe brain injury that are unresponsive, there's a tendency for the family members to only show up at the beginning, and then sometimes a decision has to be made whether to take the person off of life support or to keep them on, and for how long. And sometimes the family members don't want to make that decision, which is a tough one to make. But now you have the hospital staff that has to, look at this particular person and, care for them every day and see them in this state. And the hospital staff, is affected by, you know, this emotionally as well, because of course, for the most part, the hospital staff, you know, they want to do their job. They want to take care of you. That's, you know, that's why they chose that career. So, you know, you know, what is missing from the story, I think, is the length of time that this young woman was in the hospital. And another thing I want to add is that it could have been that Nembhard called the father and socially engineered the information from him. You know, who knows? He may have called or visited the father,
Yes.
who was
Yes.
a much older gentleman, and he could have pretended, hey, I'm an old friend
Right.
of your daughter's, blah blah blah. I heard she was in an accident or whatever. Because you know HIPAA laws, they just can't just give that information over the phone or to just any random person coming up. You know, so they'll
Right.
protect it. So I suspect that, you know, it might have been socially engineered. The father may have not been, you know, any of the wiser of Nembhard's intentions, and accidentally gave up that information. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at. Go ahead, brother.
Oh yeah, that's all. You know.
Oh, okay. Now, I was, you know, I'm referring to. This kind of goes back to the case. We didn't discuss it. It happened quite some time ago. You know, I was trying to find a reference real quick. So I was like, man, his comments are very familiar in what he said, and you know, I just found it, and I see why. So that I don't know if you guys remember Brock Turner. Ring a bell?
Yes, Brock Turner, wasn't he? Yeah, the gentleman who raped the
From Stanford, yes,
wasn't
the young lady.
right in Stanford. Yes.
Right. Remember?
Yes.
So he only got 6 months for what he did, and his dad, it was his father who made a statement. I guess he writing to the judge, and he made this one line that had so much social media outcry, and you know, I was thinking, man, this guy, what he's saying, he got it from somewhere. Why is he saying it? He got it from somewhere. Now I was able to put the pieces together, the facts of what the facts of the facts is, and you know, he's looking at that case and he's trying to get that time. This dude raped the girl. The father said this is a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action out of his 20 plus years of life. I said, wow, that's steep for you raping a girl. 20 minutes of action is that's it. So for this guy saying there was only 2 minutes before the nurse caught us, like Brother Buddha said, and the physicist, the nurses, you know, they caught her. How long would he have keep going if she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do, not catch him, you know? So for him making that statement, it was only 2 minutes. So he's downplaying it, and you know, I'm guessing, I'm almost positive he's gonna try to refer to this case as that dude said 20 minutes, and he got 6 months. I was there for 2. What are you gonna give me?
Oh, wow, yeah, and
So that's
exactly.
you know that's you know, if I doubt if he's running around being a creep like this, he can get a good defense attorney who would probably try to find some loophole in the law and get this dirtbag off. But you know, I just said it's just condensing on him making that comment was more, I assume, was specific to the Brock Turner case, and I think that's why he made it, and that's what triggered me. And my feelings of that dude is he's a bum, and I think these are bums. So these are just bum following bum conduct.
Excellent analogy there. And the thing is, at least we now know who Mr. Nembhard is, as well as a Brock Turner. And it's going to be up to us, the citizens that walk these streets, that we know who these people are. We know who their faces are. Now, Nembhard, I've never seen his face, but I'm pretty sure that I bet you we could probably do something with just a little light researching. We can get it. We can get it. As you said before, Mr. Suave, just $30. Just going to movies or just having a good time with the fellas, whatever the case may be, 30, 40 bucks. You can have somebody's file right in front of you if they are a felon. This makes it a little difficult, because how do you deal with people with sealed files? Like they're being protected. and this is here in the Bronx. So this is again, this is why I believe that the hindsight we're trying to tackle these cases that are here in real time. They're only maybe a month or two old, if even that, and we're trying to deal with them as they are happening. And this wow, this is just really something. There's a lot of obstacles here. This is a lot of things for a lot of for the listeners to consider how to deal with somebody. But most importantly, again, you got to protect your loved ones. Your family has to be involved. This go it alone thing, I'm my own island unto myself. As we're seeing, it doesn't work in sad situations like this. You got to have a good family member, a good friend, if possible. And if that all fails, as beat physicists were saying, if people that are in the hospital got to make a determining factor in a decision in the well-being of a patient, you need people who are good, heartfelt people. This is why I don't want to see people who are going to be company men and company women and say, hey, my job is that. No, you got to be a family-oriented person. You got to be a person that has a great sense of justice and advocacy for the patient. And the patient needs to be protected. And as I said before, I am not blaming the fine people over at the hospital for this, because they probably thought, hey, here's somebody that can help cheer this person up if they even are conscious enough. And then turns out he's a real dirtbag. So now, with this hindsight, moving forward, we now have sight beyond sight. And they can now say, well, we have stroke victims, heart victims, infirm to physically impaired victims, people who are deaf. We have to put a special patrolman, maybe in more laid-back attire, male or female, to monitor them always, irregardless if a family member is visiting or not, just to make sure that they're being monitored. And then when family members do come, they walk around and it's like, yes, you're here as a family, but I'm here to watch you too, because I don't know what kind of a psycho you are. It could be incest. It could be like this guy, he probably came in there posing as a family member and then did this dirty deed. Gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you covered it.
I like it.
I think we all covered it. Well, this is beyond, as we say in our school, this is beyond the dojo. This is something where you got to contemplate. This is something that they don't teach you in school. And in my humble opinion, you're going to have a couple of close friends or a good family member, hopefully, if you can, to come and watch your back. And in the hospital, those advocacies, those patient advocates, they need to be in abundance, especially for stroke and very greatly physically impaired people. From them being blind to them not being able to hear, hard to communicate, they should be able to adapt to any hard type situation or a hard case. And what I mean by hard case doesn't mean that the patient is an inconvenient, never. But these are the patients that they're going to need extra special care and protection. And I really hope that a lot of hospitals were hip to this story, got this information, and throughout our great nation, they can now plan accordingly to protect the patients.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, there you have it. The name of the show, again, is Hindsight. Our email address is thehindsight@gmail.com. That's THEHYNDESITE@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @thehindsight. So please send us your comments. Follow us on Twitter. We're on YouTube now. You can Google us. You can find us. We're here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
All right. So until next time, be safe, protect yourself and those around you. And thanks for rocking with us. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.